Hi Internet, this is Falcon Laser, and in this video, I'm going to show you a surround sound system that you can get for the price of the Bose Lifestyle 525, which is $2,800, and I'd bet you $20 if you had a group of people listen to this system and a Bose Lifestyle 525 side by side in a blind test, over half would choose this system as the better sounding system. Now, I'm going to begin by warning you that the speakers in this video are somewhat big. And yes, I know people who like Bose speakers like them because they're small, and I totally understand this. That is why I have other videos showing systems you can get for the price of Bose's lifestyle systems that have small speakers that are similar in size to Bose's, yet are better. So if you don't like big speakers, stop watching this video and watch one of those videos. However, at this price, in order to really get your money's worth, you gotta go with big speakers. In almost every case, big speakers are going to be louder, fuller, and more dynamic than any small speakers, which yes, includes Bose's. Now I'm also going to say Bose's lifestyle systems aren't absolutely horrible. The Lifestyle 525 would be a good system for about $800 to $1,000. But $2,800 is absolutely nuts. While other systems at that price may not be as small, easy to use, and easy to set up as a Bose lifestyle system, you will get vastly better sound quality at that price. However, I often find people who like Bose's lifestyle systems like them because they think they're getting the absolute best sound for the money, and often consider the small size and ease of use just an added bonus. However, in almost every case, I find the only other audio brands these people have heard are the cheapest of cheap brands that Bose will sound better than. But I bet if they were to actually give other brands in Bose's price range a chance, many would not be buying Bose. So the point of this video is to open people's minds up to brands they've likely never heard of, and if you're considering buying a Bose system or just a system in general, you'll know what else to consider. Anyway, let's finally start looking at this system. First, for the front speakers, we have the Martin Logan Motion 4s, which you've been staring at since the video began, and they are $500 a pair. For the surround speakers, we have the Martin Logan Motion 2s, which are $400 a pair. And they're basically just smaller versions of the Motion 4s. And for the center speaker, we have the Martin Logan Motion 8, which is $400. As for the Bose Lifestyle 525's direct reflect speakers, here's a picture of one. The newest Bose surround sound systems have almost completely redesigned speakers. Here's a picture of the older direct reflect speakers. As you can see, the new ones no longer have the swivel mechanism, but the drivers are still angled inside the cabinet. Despite the redesign though, according to Bose tech support and two Bose dealers I talked to, the redesign is almost entirely cosmetic. They have the same sound quality, and in fact Bose tech support told me they even have the same drivers the old Bose direct reflect speakers had, a picture of which is here. I'll say for a company that claims to put a ton of research into speaker design, you'd think they'd improve more than just cosmetics when they come out with new speaker designs. Well, how do these speakers compare? Well, first, this is a very crude picture that shows a size comparison between the Bose direct reflect speakers and the Motion 4s. The Bose speakers are 7.5 inches tall and 3.3 inches wide, while the Motion 4s are 12.6 inches tall and 5.6 inches wide. The Motion 2s are about an inch shorter than the Motion 4s, and the Motion 8 is 5.6 inches tall and 22.25 inches wide, so it's basically a small soundbar. And yes, as I previously mentioned, I know these speakers are bigger than Bose's direct reflect speakers, but again, I have other videos showing speakers similar in size to Bose's that sound better. However, the Martin Logan Motion speakers will be louder and fuller than all the speakers in those videos, so at this price range, these are the better value. But now, while these speakers are bigger than Bose's, they are still relatively compact. Here's a few pictures of them mounted next to a TV. As you can see, they're relatively shallow, so they won't take up much room depth-wise, and they can be mounted on the wall, so they won't take up a whole lot of space, especially compared to a full-size bookshelf and floor-standing speakers. So these speakers are a near perfect compromise between size and performance. Anyway, as for performance, let's look at these speakers' drivers. To reproduce the high frequencies, all the Martin Logan Motion speakers have a thing Martin Logan calls a folded motion tweeter, which is unique compared to other tweeters. Here's a GIF that shows how it works. Instead of a diaphragm that vibrates in and out like most speaker drivers do, Martin Logan's folded motion tweeter has a folded up ribbon that squeezes the air out of the folds. So it's a bit more complex than just a normal tweeter. As for reproducing mid-range and mid-bass, well, you can't see it. All these speakers have a paper mid-bass driver. The Motion 4s have a single 4-incher, the Motion 8 has two 4-inchers, while the Motion 2s have a 3.5-inch driver that's made of polypropylene instead of paper. The Bose Direct Reflex speakers, on the other hand, rely on two 2.5-inch paper drivers to play only highs and mid-range. Here's a very crude picture of what they look like with the grill off. Anyway, well, in terms of performance, 2.5-inch drivers are typically too big to play accurate high frequencies and too small to play accurate mid-range. So the Bose Direct Reflex speakers drivers are physically limited in what they can play. Not only that, the Bose Direct Reflex speakers aren't made to play mid-bass at all. Instead, they rely on Bose's subwoofer, or as Bose calls it, the Acoustimass module, to play the mid-bass for them. And this is a bad design. And I have another video, which is this one, in which I explain in detail why it's a bad design. So watch this video if you want to know why in detail. But put simply, with Bose's design, you get stereo or surround highs and mid-range, but mono mid-bass, which screws up what the music or movie recording intends you to hear. It doesn't necessarily sound bad, but the design isn't good, and the only other brands that copy the design are the ultra-cheap brands that Bose will sound better than, which speaks volumes about Bose's lifestyle system's quality. As for the Martin Logan Motion speakers, they have mid-bass drivers that are big enough to play accurate mid-bass and mid-range, so they don't need a subwoofer to play those frequencies for them. And they have a very high quality dedicated driver to play the high frequencies. So these are going to be able to play a much wider frequency range than Bose's speakers are. Anyway, as for build quality, you can tell the Bose Direct Reflex speakers drivers are made of cheap paper from just looking at them. Now, while I don't have a picture of the Martin Logan Motion speakers paper drivers, here's a picture of the Motion SLM speakers, which also have paper drivers, which the Motion 4s and 8s drivers are similar to. While this picture doesn't show them very well, if you were to look at these drivers in real life, this is what they'd look like. These are a pair of car speakers I recently got. They are the Hertz Mille MPX 165 Pros, which also have paper drivers. But as you can see, these drivers don't even really look like they're made of paper, especially compared to Bose's. That's why their paper, as is Martin Logan's, is treated with extra materials to make it stronger, which makes it better quality for reproducing sound and costs more to produce. And this is something Bose does not do. So Bose's paper is lower quality than Martin Logan's. Not only that, paper is generally not a good material for reproducing high frequencies, which Bose uses it for. So even if Bose was using better quality paper drivers, they'd still be using it wrong from the get-go. Also, speaking of high frequencies, cone drivers such as Bose's are the cheapest way to go about reproducing high frequencies, so Bose is taking the least expensive approach to reproducing high frequencies, while Martin Logan, on the other hand, is taking one of the most expensive approaches to reproducing high frequencies with their folded motion tweeters. So given all this, it's clear that the Martin Logan Motion speakers are much higher quality in terms of build quality compared to the Bose Direct Reflex speakers. To top it off, they're also bigger, which means more material is going into them than what's going into the Bose Direct Reflex speakers. And all of that material is higher quality and more expensive to produce. I mean, you can just look at the Bose Direct Reflex speakers and tell there's hardly anything going into them when compared to the Martin Logan Motion speakers. I mean, there's no way Bose can justify their speakers price considering what else you could get for the same price. Well, that's enough about the satellite speakers. Let's look at this system's subwoofer. We have here a Martin Logan Dynamo 700W, which is $700. Well, how does this thing compare to the Bose Lifestyle System's Acoustimass module? Well, sub bass requires a lot of air movement to reproduce, which is why subwoofer drivers are typically big. And this subwoofer here has a 10-inch driver, which is a typical size. The Bose Acoustimass module, on the other hand, has two 5¼ inch drivers, which are simply too small to play low and loud sub bass. So this subwoofer can play much lower and louder than Bose's Acoustimass module can. I think one of the first things you would notice, especially when watching a movie, when comparing Bose's Lifestyle systems to this system, would be this system would be able to shake the ground a lot more. Well, that's all the speakers. Let's look at the AV receiver. An example of one is a Yamaha RX-V750, which is this thing, and it costs $650. Now, in terms of cosmetics, the Bose Lifestyle 525's Media Center does have this AV receiver beat. But the question is, do you want a $2,800 system that has a nice looking AV receiver, but has $800 or so sound quality, or a system that has a not so nice looking AV receiver, but has $2,800 sound quality? And that's what this AV receiver has. Now, I have another video called Bose Lifestyle versus Yamaha AV receiver, which I explain how Yamaha's AV receivers are better than Bose's Media Centers in much greater detail, as there's some technical things that take way too long to explain in this video. And while that video is a little dated and a few of the things I say near the beginning are relevant now, the more technical things still apply. So watch that video if you want to know more. But some key advantages this AV receiver has over Bose's Media Center is it has more HDMI inputs, it's capable of 7.1 surround sound, and you can connect an iPod to it through the USB port, as you see I've done here. And just like Bose's newer lifestyle systems, it can stream music wirelessly, and it has a room correction feature similar to Bose's Adapt IQ, so it's even on features in that regard. But now something this AV receiver doesn't have that Bose's Media Centers do have is Bose's Unify feature, which is Bose's greatest invention ever. However, you could get a Logitech Harmony 650 universal remote for about $80 that make this system about as easy to use as Bose's Unify feature makes their systems easy to use, aside from showing you how to set it up. And to see how one works, you can find videos of them here on YouTube. Also, in that aforementioned video about Yamaha's AV receivers, I show my Nevo remote in it, and while my Nevo remote is fancier than the Harmony 650, it works pretty much the same way. Now, I should note that chances are you may find a Martin Logan dealer that doesn't sell Yamaha, and in this case, I'd get whatever $650 or $700 AV receiver the dealer recommends. Some brands they may have would be Denon, Marantz, Sony, Integra, Onkyo, or Pioneer. All of these AV receivers are going to have similar features to this Yamaha AV receiver, so what I said about how this Yamaha AV receiver compares to Bose's Media Centers still applies. Anyway, well, that's all the system's components. As for speaker wire, since the Dynamo 700W is wireless, you don't need a cable for it. So all you'd need is wire for the speakers, and I'd recommend no more than $50. Speaker cables are a very controversial thing in the world of audio. Some people insist on expensive cables while others don't, so I'm just taking the middle ground. I just suggest you don't get ultra thin wires, especially for the surround speakers, which I suggest you get thicker wire for. Okay, well, if you add up the cost of this system's components, it all comes out to about $2,800, which is the price of the Bose Lifestyle 525. And again, I'd bet you $20 if you had a group of people listen to a Lifestyle 525 and this system next to each other in a blind test, over half would choose this system as the better sounding system. Heck, I'd bet you the same even if you put this system against the Lifestyle 535, which is $700 more. In fact, if you're willing to spend $3,500 on a Lifestyle 535, and one of the reasons you want one is because it's easy to set up, well, get the system in this video for $2,800 and pay a dealer $700 or so to set up the whole system for you. That way you wouldn't have to worry about setup at all, and you'd still have a better sounding system than the Lifestyle 535. Heck, you could get 4 Motion 2s, a Motion 6 center, which is basically a smaller version of the Motion 8 and is $100 less, a Martin Logan Dynamo 300 subwoofer, which is $300, a $400 AV receiver such as the Yamaha RX-V750 A, a Logitech 650 remote, and cables for all about $2,000, and you'd have better sound than both the Lifestyle 525 and 35. And if you want a Bose Lifestyle 525 because it's easy to set up, just get that $2,000 system and pay a dealer to install it for you. I mean, it does not take much to get better sound quality than the Bose Lifestyle system. I mean, the systems I show in my videos that cost the same as Bose's Lifestyle systems are honestly overkill when comparing them. But you know, I can talk up this system all day, but I'm not going to convince you it's better until you actually hear it yourself, which I highly encourage you to do. So go to a Bose dealer, have them play a song you like and own on a Bose Lifestyle 525, then find a Martin Logan dealer and listen to this system. And don't limit yourself to only Martin Logan. I'd also check out Definitive Technology, Bowers & Wilkins, Paradigm, Monitor Audio, KEF, Energy, Focal, NHT, PSB, Golden Ear, and Wharfdale speakers too. All of those are in the same league as Martin Logan quality-wise. Anyway, play the same song you heard at the Bose dealer on this system and listen. Hey, maybe you'll end up liking Bose better, but maybe you won't. Again, I'll say I found after several years of making these videos and reading comments on them, most Bose fans have never even heard of Martin Logan or any other brand in Bose's price range. But I'd bet if they were to, chances are they wouldn't have bought Bose. Anyway, thanks for watching.